Hey guys, it is Saturday here in West Virginia, and we have a lot of videos to crank out for you this weekend. I would like to get a total of 3 done for you guys because what I'm going to show you now is a sneak peek at the Lowrider diorama and an awesome custom Greenlight Impala that I received from my friend Gilbert Martinez in California. This car is awesome. Wait till you see this. But right now, the Lowrider diorama I was talking about yesterday in the video, and it's nowhere near done. Right now, it's kind of just mocked up. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I do want to make it where it is movable, like the dealership was movable. The dealership used to sit right here where we're at, but I wanted to do something different for several months, but this does not mean I'm getting out of Mopar. I do love my Mopars. As you can still see, there's a bunch of them in the background. And there's another shelf above it full of Mopars. So the only thing that I changed in my collection was that I did eliminate some of my modern Mopars. And I eliminated some of my race cars to make room for some lowriders and such, because I don't have the room for everything. And also, these lowriders are not cheap, neither are the race cars, so I had to pick one or the other. So I picked the lowriders for now. But anyways, as you can see, we have the Greenlight garage here with the lowrider sign, lowrider magazine sign, I should say. I got that off one of the packages from one of the lowriders I have accumulated over the past couple of weeks. And we also moved the Ron's little office area to this diorama. I'm not sure that's going to be a permanent fix either. That will probably go back to the scrapyard diorama. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm just kind of throwing around some ideas here. But we got this, the garage, and then we got the checkered flag floor. We even got another piece of paper there to lay down because it's pretty accurate for like 1/64 scale. To have it as like a floor for like dance-off competitions or whatever for the lowriders. That's kind of what I got going on over there on the side. So we'll see what happens. And we have more American diorama figures coming. I may get some of the homies figures, but they're a little bit big. I kind of want to stick with things kind of making it look more realistic than cartoonish, although the homie figures are cool. We'll just see what happens. Maybe we'll switch it up from one to the other here and there. But right now, this is all we have, and we are going to be doing a lot of videos on lowriders in the coming weeks, because we do have a lot of them that we've already unboxed for the diorama, but we have not unboxed on video for you guys. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at a California lowrider from Greenlight, but this one is tricked out quite a bit. It looks like the box stock one that Greenlight makes, and yes, it is the same color, same car, but it has a really cool suspension mod and wheel mod done to it from my buddy Gilbert. And this car is probably the most special one that he sent me because he's actually worked on this one. The other ones that he sent me I really like. They are the truck set, the first M2 GMC 2 dually truck set, and a couple of other muscle cars, and I really do like them. But I think this one's going to have the most sentimental value because this is one that he actually took the time to create for me, and it's a very cool piece. So anyways, let's get it out and take a look at it so you can see what I'm talking about. And in my opinion, this probably has the most realistic hydraulic adjustable suspension of any car that I have in my collection. I like the Revell suspension over the Hot Wheels suspension because, well, as you can see, the Revell one, it has the basically like a U shape that holds the axle, and it comes down, and sometimes you can kick one side to the one side down and one side up, but you have to be very careful when doing that because they do break. I've already broken 161 Impala suspension. The Hot Wheels is a little bit more durable, and it is also a lot more flexible with the pivot ball setup. But as you can see, it kind of looks a little bulky when you use the front. The rear isn't so bad. The rear looks pretty accurate. It does lift a little bit of the floorboard and such with the dry shaft, but it's passable. The front, however, it brings down your whole cross member, all the lower control arms, and the lower part of the engine, which is not accurate at all. But still, it's cool. Now, this car here uses independent front suspension, where each wheel is independent on its own. And the rear end is done like the Hot Wheels, but it's a little bit smaller, so it does not have all the bulkiness of the Hot Wheels one. The rear end is a straight tube, but it does have some area here where it looks like it has a pumpkin area for the rear end gears, and then your rear drive shaft going in. And what's really cool is the way that he modded the frame and everything. It's very subtle. Where it sets down inside the frame, and the rear end here with the dry shaft going into the frame. This is correct too. That's how the rail Impalas are. They usually have a two-piece dry shaft unless somebody's modded it and they have an X frame like this. They do not have a ladder frame. It's an X-shaped frame, and the dry shaft goes through the center. And anyways, this is very accurate, so it looks very realistic on the back of the car. Same with the front end. The front end, this is basically how a lowrider looks if you don't stretch your lower control arm or upper control arm, however that works. I'm not very good with geometry, but anyways, I think this is called positive camber, when the top of your wheel comes out and the bottom goes in. And basically that's what happens whenever you lift the suspension on the front of one of these cars dramatically. It can only go so far without pointing the tire inward on the bottom and the top coming out. So basically right there is about as far as you're going to get on a car without kicking the wheel inward, unless you had the control arm stretched or something done to mod the front where the wheel stays vertical instead of like going inward. And like I said, I'm not very good with the names and stuff at the front end, but I guess that would be your camber. And with the top of the tire coming out, I guess it's positive. I think if you have the bottom kicking out and the top going in, it is negative, kind of like what the JDM guys do with their cars nowadays. That new trend that they call stance. I don't really dig it, but hey, each is their own. This I don't mind though, with it being the opposite when you jack up the front of the lowrider, because, well, that's what happens. But you can always put it back down on the ground and everything goes back to normal. So that is kind of cool. But yeah, this car is really sweet. I like putting it in the three-wheel motion, but I think I've worn out the back rear end joint because it wants to drift back down. Or if I want to do like just a regular three-wheel without going too dramatic, it wants to fall down like that. So I'm going to have to ask Gilbert if there's any adjustment that I can do to tighten that back up on the rear. But yeah, it is very cool. The car rolls perfect. Everything's there. The engine's still intact. As I said, the base is not all hacked up like those one kits that you get that are very similar to the Hot Wheel kit, where you basically have your square plates and these pivot balls. And it's okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would probably build one like that. But if you want to be very realistic, the way that he did this is the most realistic you're ever going to get for a 1/64th lowrider. Each front wheel being independent on its own, and the rear end being one unit. But yes, your front end will always do that unless you do some mods on the control arms. But so this is very, very realistic, as I said. outside of any of the others. Now, as I mentioned, the Revell Lowriders, they are made as one unit, front and rear, like the Hot Wheels, but a different design. And as I mentioned, sometimes you can get one side to stick down and one side to stick up like that. And then on the front, something like so, where it's cocked a little bit, but it's hard, and sometimes you can break them. So there, it's got a decent three-wheel motion going on, but actually, in reality, the front tire is supposed to sag a little bit more, because when you don't have any pressure on that tire, well, your suspension is going to basically have no tension on it, and it's going to relax and stretch and drop that front tire down. Yeah, I don't know. As I said, I've been playing with it a lot for picture, so I may have worn it out on the back. But yeah, this is a very cool custom. He did a fantastic job on it, and I may have to try to talk him into doing a couple more of them for me, because these are awesome. As I said, they have the most realistic lowrider suspension that I've ever seen. So anyways, guys, that's it for the video today. I just wanted to get this out there and show you what a great customizer he is, and that the craftsmanship on this thing is just amazing. It's, as I mentioned, like very subtle and very realistic looking all at the same time. So just the design behind it is very cool. But anyways, we'll be back again either later today or first thing tomorrow to do 2 videos. I'm not sure what we're going to do today. I have the new Diecast Riverside Show Super 30s to unbox for you. And we also have the new RLC Pro Street 72 Yanko Nova. So we're going to try to get both those knocked out this weekend. So anyways, we'll probably be back later today with another one, and then do one tomorrow, or vice versa, just doing both tomorrow. I don't know yet, so turn on your notification bell so you know when I do drop the other ones. And I appreciate you guys watching, and thanks again, Gilbert. I love the car, and we will be back again later or tomorrow. See you guys later.